Sunrise. I'm Lisa, and I'm here with my husband, Braden. We just wanted to talk a little bit about the sermon that Braden brought us this Sunday. So, Braden, can you tell us about what happens in Acts 18?
Yeah, we went through Acts 18, verses 1 to 17, and we see that Paul has just traveled to the city of Corinth, and there's kind of four main things that happen throughout this portion of Scripture. We first are introduced to Aquila and Priscilla. They become really important characters throughout the New Testament. They're originally from Rome, they're exiled from Rome, and now they're living in Corinth, and Paul partners with them, and they partner with him in his ministry. And then we see the shift of, like in many cities that Paul enters, he shifts from preaching to the Jews to the Gentiles, and this opposition kind of starts to rise in the city. And you can kind of tell that Paul is anticipating persecution to come. And it's in that moment that when he's anticipating this persecution and this fear is beginning to rise, that the Lord intervenes, and he comes to him in a vision and encourages him, do not be silent, keep on preaching, keep on doing my work, because there's many people in this city who will be called by my name. And then he promises that he won't be harmed as long as he stays in Corinth. And then it comes to the final part of the Scripture where the Jews make this united attack on him and take him to the Roman proconsul and try to get him arrested, but the Lord defends Paul. And before Paul even has to say a word to defend his case, he shuts it down, and Paul is safe. And so that's kind of what the main things that happen throughout Acts 18, 1 to 17.
Right. Awesome. Now, in your preach, you alluded to both Moses and Joshua, and then Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. What is the connection there between those biblical narratives?
We see that when the Lord comes and encourages Paul, that the language that is used actually kind of reflects on the Old Testament. The Lord speaks to Moses and Joshua when he calls and commissions them. So it's this interesting connection of, in the midst of Moses' fear and doubting his ability to lead Israel, the Lord commissions him saying, do not be afraid, for I am with you. And then when Joshua is being commissioned as the leader of Israel after Moses died, probably fearful of following in Moses' steps and fearful of entering Canaan because he saw what it was going to take the land, God reminds him, do not be afraid, for I'm with you. So that same language we see God is calling Paul with in Acts 18. So it's this cool connection. But then also we see in Luke 22, when Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane, it's one of the most real moments we see the humanness of Jesus. So we often, I believe we often forget that although Jesus was fully divine, he was also fully man. Right. And he had real human emotions that he dealt with, and he struggled with fear. And in this moment, we see this moment of fear that he cries out to the Father and says, take this cup of suffering from me, but he submits it before him and says, not your will, not my will, but yours be done. So what's interesting is we are called, just as Moses and Joshua and Paul and even Jesus, in the midst of fear and maybe even frustration, we've been given a call, and God speaks promises over those fears that we're encountering.
So we see that God's call is bigger than the fears or frustrations that we're facing. And so as you guys are meeting as a community group, even though it looks a little bit different right now, we just had some questions that we wanted to give to you that we hope will encourage you and challenge you as you seek to implement this sermon in your life. First of all, what fears or frustrations are you currently facing? Second, what promise has God declared over you in your current situation? Or what has he been reminding you of? And third, what have you felt God commissioning you to do in this season? And if you're unsure, where is he calling you to be a blessing to others?
Thanks, Lisa. And thank you for joining us. Glad that you're able to tune in. And we just pray that the Lord's blessing is upon you this week, and that you would be able to hear and know what promises God is speaking into your situations. Have a great week. God bless.